Greetings tourists and welcome to another video. So this is deck report of season 6, week number 3 if I'm not mistaken, or latter half of week number 2, and we're back with Lunalight. So the last time you saw Lunalight was on episode 23 of season 5X, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a little bit of a time since I played this deck, and there is a very good reason for it. So I have a regional in 3 weeks, and it is under like our current Forbidden Limited list. I'm testing everything under the sun. As you've already seen in this channel, we revisited Draco Tail, we revisited Ritual Beast, we revisited Malice. Now we're back to revisiting Lunalight, and not much has changed when it comes to the deck. I think Lunalight is not completely unfavorable this format. However, there are some popular trends that you've probably already seen if you saw like YCS Anaheim that are just strong, a little bit too strong for a strategy like Lunalight. I will get to the list. I will talk about how my matches went this week and just talk about my general consensus, because Luna is in an awkward position right now. But let me get to the list and I'll explain things as we go along. So, 3 Gold Leo, 3 Black Sheep, 2 Kaleido Chicks, 1 Silver Hound, 1 Martin, 1 Emerald Bird, 1 Fractal, which is an honorary Lunalight because it can just tutor out monsters through Silver Hound. Then we got the Wolf, we got the Tiger, and there's one different addition that we did to the Luna names, and those are Flag and Protos. I will explain these in a little bit. Now, spell cards. There's 3 Perfume, 3 Dark Ruler, 3 Goods, 3 Heavy Poly, 3 Thrusts, 3 Fire Formation Tankies, 2 Masquerades, Called by the Grave, Polymerization, Triple Tactic Talents, Lunalight Fusion. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's 22 spell cards. Maybe a little bit more. And the last 2 cards are Serenade Dance and the Black Goat Who Laughs. So that's the main deck. It's 42 cards. Side deck: Barrier, Dominus Impulse, Duster, Droplets, Droll, Fuwalas, Perolia. Extra deck: Almirage, Cross Cheap, SP Little Knight, Exiton Knight, Baguska, Banshee, Tiger King, Chimera, Panther, double Leo Dancer, double Perfume Dancer, double Liger Dancer. So that's it for the deck. Let's talk about the biggest outlier. The first thing you noticed is the Nemeses cards. this is not the first time you see this on a Lunalight list. I think Jacine also did it for Top Cut in Wise's Peru. And I do have my reasons for this. The first reason is I wanted an alternate win condition for the Lunalight deck besides just Liger. And the reason for that is because of Dimensional Barrier. Just playing board breakers in Lunalight is not good enough because if you lose the die roll, game 3, your opponent will cite Dimensional Barrier, and your best play on the Dimensional Barrier is Baguska SP. And against certain matchups, Baguska SP is just not good enough. Like, you can, if you back that up with Impulse and Droplets as your other defensive cards, then it could work out, but for the most part, it will not work out. I lost against a Sky Striker player because the Baguska SP setup was just not good against them. And I also lost against Yummy at one point because I couldn't break their board, and I tried to make Exit on night, but they played around it. Like, they had DD Crow, and it was their way of stopping me from making this and doing this efficiently. So yeah, I kind of wanted to try out another win condition besides what the standard Lunalight deck just does, and Protos came into mind. If you know that you're facing against Yummy, you summon Exit on night, and you just blow up the Exit on night with Protos. If you know that you're facing like the Mirror Match, a Mitsurugi deck, and there's like a few other awkward matchups like Malice, Jubel decks, and Labyrinth, stuff like that, you can just call Dark, and your opponent has to deal with that plus the Liger, and that should be enough for you to win the game. Another reason why Protos is here, and if this comes to the side deck portion, if you want your Liger to be protected, something you can do is you can go Protos and call Fire, blowing up your flag or your Banshee or your Tiger King. And by calling Fire, they cannot Lava Golem over your Liger Dancer, which it is a card that you see on some lists. Like, for example, Triff played it on his Yummy pile deck. So, like, post side deck, that is like the game plan. You try to protect your Liger from getting Lava Golemed. Because, like, against a lot of decks, Liger is just already good enough. Yeah, Lava Golem is the only one I thought about. Dogoron, if you're playing against Vanquish Soul or the Jurak Fire King deck, it is also an option. Outside of that, like, there's not many things that you need to call with Protos. Against Yummy and against like Mitsurugi decks, this was fine. I did face against there was one time at locals where I faced none of those decks, and this was kind of mediocre. Like, I played against Mitsurugi K9, which they almost beat me, and I did open Protos where I just had no real easy way to summon it. And against Dracotail, this is also mediocre. Although Dracotail already has a bad matchup against this deck anyway. So, in hindsight, I might cut the Protos package. I don't think it was good enough for what I was trying to do with this deck. I might play Dugaris and just like keep the deck at 40. Every other non-engine in this deck I felt okay with. Like Black Goat alongside the 3 goods, I think was good. Was pretty alright. Uh, just shutting down Snatchy, shutting down Murakumo, shutting down like a few specific cards. Uh, if you guys have faced against Vanquish Soul, just shutting down like Holisu is really good. If you face against like other specific matchups, like this can shut down Izuna, this can shut down Lupus. So yeah, um, I didn't dislike this. I think this was really good. Something that overperformed this weekend was Dark Ruler no more. Shout out to Tom. I know that he played this on his YCS Lil build of the deck. Uh, I think this card is really strong this format, especially against the Yummy Mitsurugi deck. If this card resolves, not only are you shutting down Murakumo, you're shutting down like the typical Yummy interactions, but the ruling behind the Dark Ruler, and I know a lot of people did not know about this. Like a lot of people misplayed games in YCS Anaheim because they didn't know about this ruling. If Dark Ruler resolves, your opponent cannot reborn a monster with Mitsurugi prayers because that card takes damage as part of the effect, and Dark Ruler makes it so that both players do not take damage. So that's a very important ruling. This automatically makes this card really strong against Mitsurugi, and a lot of the common Mitsurugi boards are doing the Fossil Dyna strat as well, at least the pure build of the deck. So this also shuts that down. Like, so something else to like take into consideration. Playing it alongside 3 thrusts and 3 heavy poly makes Lunalight arguably the best board breaker deck, or the best deck that can play board breaker cards. Because if heavy poly resolves and you just summon Liger Dancer, you almost don't care about almost any end board in the game. Like, Liger can just clear that board. Like, the strongest Mitsurugi Yummy board that they can make can be outed by Liger. And if Liger hits the board, it's almost over for that deck. So, like, as a going second strategy, it's not bad. This is the reason I didn't play hand traps. I still go first when I play in the Lunalight strategy. I think we have enough starters and extenders that can play through like common interactions. Like, the cards that really stop us from getting to Liger are like the heavy hand traps, like stuff like Droll. Fun fact, I had a game against Mitsurugi. My opponent ashed, drolled, Nibiru'd, impulsed, and I still ended on Liger. And I used the talent, the thrust to set Black Goat, and just put them on better out this board, and they couldn't out it. So yeah, like Lunalight has a lot of gas. Like, there will be some game states where you just open like redundant Luna names, and it won't be enough to like break the board. But that's why you're playing a lot of board breakers in this deck. Like, if you go by the approach of just facing common M boards, there's almost no M board in the game that you should be like losing against. Now, you're hearing everything I'm saying, and I'm going to talk about why it's awkward for Lunalight this format. So, if you saw YCS Anaheim, you already saw what happened. Like, there were a lot of FTK-like scenarios happening. Like, Raidio hand looping and then summoning Protos was one of them. Dimensional Barrier being flipped on certain game states was another one. Games where you just get drolled really quickly is like another really strong end board scenario that you have to deal with. There's the Mjolnir lock, there's the Fossil Dyna lock, There is like the Sanctifier lock with the Blue Eyes Link monster when you're facing Draco Tail. There are some degenerate strategies that are roaming around, and that makes it unfavorable for Lunalight because one of the easiest ways to beat Lunalight is by floodgating the deck. And all these really strong floodgate scenarios are just really strong right now. Like, if your opponent said Black Goat and they Black Goat called like Liger Dancer, I think this is not the worst thing ever because we still do have Leo Dancer, right? And Leo Dancer is enough for some boards. You could win the game with Leo Dancer, but when you just cannot summon your boss monsters at all, that is when the game gets tricky. And you know, it's kind of sad that we're at this point in the game. I know that some Yu-Gi-Toers already talked about it. The game is still not in the worst position out there. We've had worse formats than the format we currently have at the moment, but you know the format is not good when Lunalight, a deck that has one of the scariest boss monsters of all time, is a deck that is not in the safest position at the moment. Now, let's talk about some positives. I think with proper non-engine adjustments, we could see like the format shaping up to a position where you just don't get outed out of the game entirely. Probably main decking Impulse could be something that we could do in the future. Main decking Fualas is another one. I just didn't wanted to play Fua and Impulse because I didn't want to walk into like a bunch of scenarios where they thrust barrier me, or like be in a scenario where doing 1-for-1 trades were not good enough against my opponent. But if those really weird degenerate strategies are just showing up, like, yeah, maybe there's a world with just me in all of these, right? But yeah, that's it for now. I don't think Lunalight is a bad deck at all. I think Lunalight is not a real bad position. Yesterday at Locals, shout outs to Gabe if you're watching this. A good friend of mine that goes to Locals, he also played the Lunalight deck and he went undefeated yesterday at Locals. So that goes to show you the deck is not completely out of the woods. Like, there are ways for you to win with Lunalight. I also want to shout out to Ruggles, the big YouTuber. I will post his video in the description. He also is like grinding Locals with Lunalight, and he has been winning a couple of events now. I'll also shout out to Tom. Like, Tom is probably one of the best Lunalight players at the moment, and he is more than aware that FTKs are a thing. He knows the things that are happening in the game, and even despite all of that, he is very confident in this deck and the way it's been played at the moment. So yeah, if you're a Lunalight enjoyer, I'd say don't give up. I certainly won't give up. I think this deck still has a chance. I guess I should talk about something that beat me this past weekend. One of my losses was to Blue Eyes, was the Blue Eyes deck, and their way of beating me was by summoning the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, summoning the regular Blue Eyes White Dragon, and equipping the Neo Ultimate Dragon, and boosting it to 4k attack because of Primate Lordy Load. They were playing the Osinagi, which is their vanilla monster, and they just beat over the Liger with the Blue Eyes, which is really impressive. You know, shout outs to that Blue Eyes player. Uh, like that was a really good match, and he definitely deserved the victory. I cannot be happier of how I lost that match. I'd rather lose to those scenarios than scenarios where you just get floodgated out of the game, which is 90% of the losses in this deck. So, yeah. Until then, we'll keep seeing more strategies as we go along. Keep practicing and keep dueling.